Hello, bonjour, sawadee marhaba. Okay, I've tried all the greetings I know how to say. Hello, my name is Axelle. I am a 24 years old French woman, and welcome to the Apero Talk podcast. I'm so nervous all of a sudden. Goddamn. Okay. How to talk, how to process. Uh, So before I introduce this podcast and all the concept and the ideas that I've had about it, I need to introduce myself. So as I said, my name is Axelle. I am 24 and I am a French woman. Well, technically I'm half Lebanese, but culturally I'm fully French. I have spent the first 23 years of my life in Paris, France, born and raised, if you will. And I have a lot of identities, let's say. I am a plus size woman. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can clearly see it. You can see me in all of my glory. I am bisexual. I am an only child. I have struggled with mental illness like depression and anxiety. What else? I'm an atheist. I'm a big feminist. Very big feminist. Literally and figuratively. What else? I have so much that makes me me, you know? So it's kind of hard to put it into labels. And hopefully with this podcast, you will learn more and more about me, more of my past experiences that made me who I am. And so, yeah, let's just say that this is the broad identities I have. I don't think you can boil me down from just these few labels, but, it's the gist. The thing is, I am French. I was born and raised in Paris, as I said, but right now I'm living in Bangkok, Thailand. And the story of how I came in here, you would have to go on my YouTube channel, Axelle Loves Thailand, to know kind of the full story. And even then, it's just a summary for, videos. But, the summary for you guys is going to be that I'm obsessed with Thai culture and Thai media. So most of the media I consume, most of the content I consume in life is Thai. I watch mostly Thai series, and the other series I watch are Korean or Japanese. I listen mostly to Thai music, and I follow mostly Thai actors and actresses on Instagram and other social media. And so, yeah, I'm a Thai stan. I'm a BL fan, if you want to call me like that. I prefer the term Thai drama because the BL fandom has some fans that I don't really want to associate myself with. Also made a video about that on my YouTube channel. But, I became obsessed with Thai culture through Thai dramas in 2017. And, here I am. Because of that, I wanted to do my gap year here, which I did last year. And actually, this podcast has been an idea of mine for so fucking long. More than a year. Even before I moved to Thailand, I was like, that would be so fun for me to do this podcast. The title of this podcast has been on my mind for a year and a half now. And so basically at the end of my gap year, I decided, I don't really want to go back and do my master's degree in Paris. I want to stay here, hopefully forever. And so I found a master's degree here, and here I am. And this year, I told myself, create the fucking podcast, bitch. That's what I really told myself. So yeah, that's the presentation for me. Why am I here? What's going on? Now, what is Apero Talk? So, as I said, I'm French, and in France, we have this tradition called apéro. Apéro is basically having snacks and drinks, mostly salty, with your friends, family, coworkers, boyfriend, girlfriend, anyone, before usually a lunch or dinner. So it's the pre-meal, if you will. And this is a really good moment of conviviality. It's a really beautiful moment of community. And it's something that I love about French culture is that like for us, meals last forever because we talk and talk and talk in between them. And it's something I really love about French culture. And so here, obviously, I had this idea for this podcast because I thought I would be alone. I thought I was like, I'm going to be alone. So let me share an apéro with the listeners / viewers of this podcast. And over a year later, it's still the purpose of this, even though I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm far less lonely than I thought I would be. And in fact, my social life has never been better. Like Bangkok has done wonders for my social life. But that doesn't mean I still don't want to share this apéro with you guys. And the reason for it is that I love to talk. I'm a very talkative person. I've always been since the day I was born. And so I really want to share some of my experiences as just a fellow human. I don't really think I have more wiseness to share with people or more like better experiences than others. But I do think I have a way with words. Again, I talk a lot. And I also think I have insight that might be worthy of sharing. So basically this is it. This is what Apero Talk is all about. Once a month. And if this podcast is more popular, I will do once every 2 weeks and maybe even once a week. We'll see how many episodes I released so far. Like right now it's going to be once a month because I have other things to do, but we'll see how like engaging and popular this podcast becomes. I have no idea. Honestly, I listen to only a few podcasts. I love listening to podcasts because like I'm someone who has their headphones on all day 24/7 because I'm always listening to something. And so I love listening to podcasts where I'm like cleaning my apartment or like doing some chores or whatever around the house. I just love doing that. So yeah. So the purpose of Apero Talk as well is that in each episode, I will be literally sharing an apéro with you guys. And that means sharing alcohol, and sometimes we'll have non-alcoholic drinks and a snack with you guys. So I would recommend while you listen to this podcast to get your own drink and your own snack. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It doesn't even have to be a salty snack. You don't have to follow traditions. Like who the fuck cares? Okay. So today's drink is, I stuck with the classic. This is something you can find in every 7-Eleven around Thailand. It's soju, and I chose the grape and I chose the grape and grapefruit one. This particular taste I've never tried, but it's one of my friend's favorites. She recommended it to me. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it for the first episode because again, like this is new beginnings, new experiences. So I think this is the perfect drink to start off Apero Talk with you guys. And for the salty drink, we have this one, which is, I have no idea. I just found it in 7-Eleven. It's a wheat and tapioca snack, squid flavor. So I love squid. Let's open it up and try it. So for those who are watching the video, I did have to open the bag sideways because Thai packaging is terrible. Truly one of the worst packagings I've ever experienced in my life. Let's try the wheat snack. Yeah, I like it. It's very subdued. I think it's gonna go very well with alcohol, and yeah, I like it. It's not like crazy good, but it's not bad at all. Now for the soju. And I have decided that for every episode, I will be drinking out of my cup from Land of Something. Land of Something, if you don't know, if you're not a Thai drama stan as I am, is the brand from my favorite Thai actor of all time, Of Jumpun. If you don't follow Of Jumpun, go follow him, go stan him. He's the love of my life. He's hilarious, a great actor, beautiful, fashion forward. Anyways, the best ever. So yeah, I bought this cup like a couple months ago. I have actually never used it because I moved back to France for 2 months right after. So I'm gonna use it for the first time here on this podcast, and I'm gonna pour soju in a mug. Who the fuck cares? You know, there's no rules around here. First of all, it smells very good. I like it. But I think I still prefer the peach one because peach is my favorite fruit and I love peach so much, but this is good. I like it. It's light and I'm going to be drunk by the end of this episode, but yeah, let's go. So the first episode is entitled I'm French, Sue Me. So as I've said multiple times already, I am French. I was born and raised in Paris, in my opinion, one of the best cities out there, which is ironic considering I don't really want to live the rest of my life in Paris. I know. But I first want to talk about what it means for me to be French and when did I realize that I was French and what being French means to me. So obviously growing up, I don't think you have like a great understanding of like who, like countries and like wars and like you don't really get it. Like you're just born somewhere and that's it. I was obviously very lucky to be born in one of the most powerful countries on this earth. And I think it has shaped a lot of who I am. And I think it has definitely contributed to the amount of privilege I have in life. And I think I realized for the first time that I was French, like when I became a teenager, when I started speaking English. So basically I became bilingual in English at like 15 and I mostly became bilingual by myself, like while watching series. Don't laugh at me. I was a Gleek. Okay. And yeah, I watched all the seasons of Glee and was obsessed and rewatched them. I knew every fucking scene by heart, bitch. And yeah, that's how I became bilingual, like just by hearing English. Obviously, English and French are very, very similar. So I think it's a very easy language to pick on. And for me, that's what I realized is like I'm not that good at languages because I'm really trying to be good at Thai. And I can speak Thai okay, but I just... You know, in my class, so I've started doing my master's here. In my class, I have like friends that are like, all of them are Asians. I'm the only non-Asian person, which technically I am half Asian because Lebanon is located in Asia. But obviously we all know that when we think about Asia, we don't think about Arab people and Middle Eastern people. So, you know, you get it. But yeah, I'm the only like white looking person. By the way, I will often describe myself as white even though I am biracial because this will be for another episode. I will make an episode on being biracial, but I've never suffered any racist discrimination. I am read as white by 99.9% of people. And so I don't want to claim myself as a person of color because I don't think I belong in those spaces. And I don't deserve to claim that I'm persecuted for it because I'm really not. And I've always been aware of my privilege against my friends who are people of color in France. So I will go between describing myself as white and as biracial. During this podcast, I am still a bit confused about how to call myself, and it will be something I discuss in a future episode. But as someone who's white, like I realized, so there's this Vietnamese girl who's my friend, and she's been living in Thailand for 3 years. So she's been learning Thai for around the same time as me, but she speaks it so much better than me. And obviously she does because Vietnamese and Thai are much more like closer in tones and like the way they are spoken than French and Thai. But I still get fucking jealous. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm like, why not me? Like, I'm trying my best. And to be fair, I understand Thai pretty well. But speaking it is hard for me because first of all, I don't have enough vocabulary. But also like everything about Thai is opposite to French, you know, so it's very hard. But anyways, no more about Thai. We're talking about France today. Thai will be for another episode. So I think I like became slowly aware that I was French around like 12, 13, like when I started kind of watching YouTube and like watching shows. And for me, I immediately got hit with the like clichés about France. Like, oh my God, you're so classy. Or like the little music that like I don't even have to play it, that you know, if you hear it with the accordions, if you hear it, you know it's the French music, even though I've never heard this music in France, like ever, not once in my fucking life. And obviously I became aware of these like clichés, and in a way it made me proud. And I think to this day I'm quite proud to be French. I think it's a country that is like evokes a lot of thoughts. So a lot of people like us, a lot of people hate us. We're going to talk about it later, but I still realize that mostly French people are seen as good in one way or another. We're seen as like classy, as cultured, as like we're the country of wine and baguette and art and museums and whatever. And obviously, I'm not going to be mad about that. You know, like, who's going to be like, no, the whole world sees us as like great fucking smart people. Oh my God, how insulting. Obviously not, you know? And I think I was never a super patriotic person, but I've always been very proud to be French. And as I've grown up, I've realized that actually my French identity doesn't matter that much, especially now that I live in Thailand, because I don't know how to describe it, but like it's not something that I really think about. It's not something that dictates my life. And I think it's also because I feel quite detached from French culture. I'm going to be honest. I know more about American politics than I do French. I listen more to Thai songs than I do French. I watch more Thai series than I do French. I'm not very in touch with my own culture. And actually, it was funny because my first year when I arrived in Thailand, so last year, I started listening to French speaking songs more. So there's two artists that I really like, two French artists. If you like rap, I actually really like rap. It's really like, for me, it's a fascinating art, honestly. And there's these two rappers that I really like. One is French, very famous in France. He's called Orelsan. And he's huge in France. Sadly, he's like quit his career now, which is like upsetting. And I don't like all of his songs. And obviously, like as a feminist, it's kind of sometimes hard to relate to these male artists because like he's very honest in his songs. I don't think he's a misogynist necessarily. He's had controversies in the past about being a misogynist, but I don't think he is. I just think he's a man. And he doesn't get it, you know? And that's a huge problem. But we'll talk about this more in my feminist episode. And so, yeah, I really love Orelsan. He has had some of my favorite lyrics of all time, okay? Some of his songs, my favorite song of his is called La Lumière, The Light. I absolutely love that song. It's actually kind of underrated. In his biggest album, which is called San, he's had like two love songs, and there's one called La Lumière and the other one called Le Paradis. Le Paradis, which means heaven, like became like his biggest like song of the two, even though in my opinion, La Lumière is far superior. I absolutely love it. Like it's truly one of my favorite songs of all time. Like you put it on, I am gonna jam, bitch. And the other artist is much more underrated, and he's not French, he's from Belgium. Fun fact, I am half a quarter Belgian, because my grandma is half Belgian, half Luxembourger. Yeah, white people, am I right? And so, yeah, this guy is from Liège, a French-speaking city in Belgium, and he's called Le D. And he dropped like an EP years ago, like it's been 5-6 years, called Beurre de Marrakech. And that EP is a slay. I'm absolutely obsessed with this artist. Like every year I have a phase where I listen to this EP like again and again and again. And now I can even rap most of his songs, even though I'm no rapper. Like, I'm a pretty okay singer. I'm not a rapper, but I love rapping his songs. Like, I love him. So anyways, last year it hit me hard. Like, this French listening phase was like super hard. I listened to Orelsan and Le Dé for like months on end, especially Le Dé. Like, Le Dé, I've listened for him for half of last year. For real. Like, I'm obsessed with his like EP. But yeah, I realized I leaned more into like French culture once I was apart from it. And I think it's a very, very common way of thinking and doing things, right? Once you only realize what you miss once they're not there anymore. And so growing up, I think I took a lot of pride in being French. And, you know, if I had to choose again to be born in another country, I would still choose France, which is a very loaded statement, knowing that many people would not choose to be born in their country, you know, because I think only people who come from privileged countries can say, yeah, I would love to be born in my country. But people who are like under bombs every day, like who cannot even legally go to school or whatever, you think they're going to choose to be born in their own country again? Hell no. And for me, it shows how random this all is. Like, I could have been born anywhere else. And especially the way my parents met is so fucking random. I could have been someone else entirely. My mom was engaged to a whole ass Lebanese man living in fucking Canada. I would not be here, bitch. Like, I would not. So for me, growing up French has been a sign of immense privilege. And I recognize this privilege, and I cannot say I did not enjoy it. I think it would be lying to be like, oh no, I'm so privileged. How like shitty. That's so hurtful to have privilege. Privilege is great. This is why it's privilege, you know. But I think I quickly realized growing up, like I had always curly hair. And so I didn't fit in fully with the white kids because they would always be touching my hair and be like, oh, why is your hair curly? Why is your hair like this? Blah, 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 blah. And I never fit in with the Arab kids because most Arab people in France are from North Africa. They're from Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco. And so I've always felt different, not like other girls, if you will. Because I really couldn't put words on what I was feeling. And I think that kind of delayed me feeling French, because French is nothing. You know, nowadays we have a lot of we see a lot of people, like commenters, anonymous commenters online say, the France is becoming the first Islamic state. There's only black and Arab people here. And for me, this is one of the greatest things about France is the diversity. And it's something I miss dearly here in Thailand. Me being the only white person in my class is something that is felt for me. Like, it's something that I feel. And it's not that I'm like, oh, I'm surrounded by all these Asian people. Like, oh my God. But it's just that growing up, I've always grown up with such a diversity of experiences. And it's not the case right now. Especially since, you know, I'm studying an international master. So I thought it would be a little bit more diverse. But in my opinion, diversity is one of the greatest strengths of France. And I realized I was French when I moved to my high school, and my high school was a really rich fucking high school. And it was mostly white people, and I was like, where's the diversity? I realized that this did not feel right, and this did not feel French, honestly, to me. I was like, why am I with all these rich bitches that are white? You know, I don't relate at all. When I realized I was French, I mostly focused on the positive stereotypes. French people are so cultured. French people are they read a lot of books and go to museums and go to theater to see plays, and they sip wine while reading like Albert Camus or whatever. And obviously, again, these stereotypes are all good. And I think it does participate in the romanticization of France. That like, oh, it's so classy and it's so rich and it's like the luxurious experience, you know? And when I see French used anywhere, it's always to symbolize luxurious experience, right? It's never like you'd never see French to be like, ah, vas-y, les quéquettes, vas-y, on va faire ça, là. But this is the real French. Like, if you want the real French experience, Google, like, go on YouTube and type, on fait tourner les serviettes. Patrick Sébastien. This is the epitome of the French experience, bestie. You want to see one of my classic, my childhood classic? You type Fatal Bazooka par la maman. We're not like classy people at all. In my opinion. We're not classier than anyone else. There's like a rate of unemployment that's through the roof in France. There's a lot of poor people. And it's not that poor people cannot be classy, it's that poor people don't have the choice to be classy. They cannot even have that option. Classiness is always and will always probably be associated with richness. And the truth is, France might be a rich country compared to other countries, but it's not a country of rich people. And so, these stereotypes I don't agree with, obviously. And if there's one stereotype that I do agree with, is that we're very cultured. And I think it's from the fact that, like, we have kind of this reputation to uphold, in a way. And so we bring kids to museums and like to the cinema to watch like obscure foreign movies at like 8 years old. And I think that's a great thing. Even though for the poor kids that don't even have space in their home to do their homework, who have to take care of their 4 or 5 other siblings and live in like 30 meters square with 10 other people. Maybe this didn't change their life, but I think it changed something in them as well. When I was a kid, we had this thing called Collège au Cinéma. Collège au Cinéma is like junior high at the movies. And I remember we saw a lot of movies. We saw like an African movie of like a girl. What? A girl? Huh? And that was an old ass movie. A girl who leaves her village to go to the main city and she works in a movie theater. And that was a really like marking moment for me. And obviously I say that as someone who was brought to La Cinémathèque Française, which is a place that showed a lot of old black and white movies at like 3 years old. I'm someone who was raised around culture. My mom brought me to every fucking museum, everything culturally that I could do around Paris, and there's a lot. I did it all. Okay? And honestly, it's why I am who I am today. It's why I'm studying cultural management. It's why I want to own my own gallery. It's why art is literally as important to me as the blood in my fucking vein. Other people never had this opportunity, but I am glad that in school, they did. I remember going to the aquarium so many times. We went to the Louvre many times as well. We did a lot of like school outings to cultural things around Paris. And there's also this movie I remember. This one I watched in high school. Like all the way from primary school to high school, I was going to the movie theater to watch those foreign movies. Some of them very obscure. I'm not even sure I could find them online today. Like there was this one with those, it was a Hong Kong movie, I think. Those gangsters who fall in love with like the same girl. And I think this one is pretty famous. So please comment it or like tell me, like you can find my social medias and like send it to me. And there was another one about a like Japanese boy, and I don't remember much, but it was a really good movie as well. And all of these, I think for me, again, I am in that field of like art and culture. So for me, I see each like exhibition, movie, play, whatever you see that is cultural and artistic, I see each of them as a brick that's building your house. And so even though I was very fortunate that when I started going to these museums and to these movie theaters to watch those movies at like 8 years old with my classroom, I already had quite a few bricks with my wall. I probably already had one of the walls of my house ready, to be honest. Other kids had 0 bricks. And even though today they still don't have a fucking house, they have the beginning of a wall. And I think it's still better than nothing. And when I meet other people from other countries, it's, let's not sound judgmental, but it does astonish me sometimes to see how uncurious they are. And I think, say what you will about French people, we have a lot of flaws. We can be insufferable. And that's coming from me, okay? But one thing about us is that we are definitely and absolutely gonna be opinionated and critical. We have a lot of critical thinking skills because also the exams and the assignments that we do in school from a very young age ask us our opinion. And it is part of the assignment. If you don't give your opinion, you have like points deducted, okay? A lot of other countries just form kids to recite like whatever list they want them to recite by heart without ever like having the kid express themselves. And I'm gonna be honest, I am so glad I am French just for that one thing. And it's something I will always take pride in. Because I think having critical skills and being opinionated are very important qualities to have. Even though it can make you insufferable. Once again, I do not deny that. But it also makes you better equipped to be an adult. In today's world of social media where there is so much, I hate using this word fake news because it's associated with the far right. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know that I am so fucking far from the far right, okay? But from this fake news that you see online, that if you have not been taught critical skill from a very early age, you are gonna eat that shit up. And I'm very proud for me that I was born French just for that aspect. Because one thing about French people, like I've always said that an American goes to see a movie they liked. Okay, not their favorite movie, not the greatest of all time, just a movie they liked. And they're gonna come out of the movie theater and be like, oh my god, like this was so amazing. Like, oh my god, this was the best movie of all time. Like, I cannot believe this was like this. Oh my god. Apologies for the cliche and stereotypical impression. But actually, like, the American impression is like the only good impression I can do. So like, I'm not that sorry. But a French person will go see their favorite movie of all time. That movie changed their fucking life, okay? Change their fucking life. And they will come out of the theater and be like, yeah, I really like this movie, but I think there are some flaws. Like in that scene, this could have been done better. But I still really love this movie. I think it's a very important movie. Hein? You see that but? That I really like this movie, but the essence of French culture. Essence of French culture, I swear to God. Okay? And so, I think it's still a good point, even though it's very annoying. And honestly, French people often, like, get on my fucking nerves. Because, again, I think I'm French, but I'm not like most French people. Because I'm quite more global. A lot of my influences and media and everything I watch is not French. Therefore, I think I haven't been like, I'm not 100% French. And it's not, I'm not just talking about me being half Lebanese, but like in terms of personality. But I think it's really important to have this but in every moment of our lives. This but is like the essence of life, in my opinion, because you cannot see things from only one side in life. And I think this critical skills that is taught to us very early on is one of our greatest strengths as people. Now though, we have spoken about like the great things about being French, whatever. Let's talk about the less good things. I think it's about when I became 20 that I realized, oh shit, like actually some people don't like French people. And TikTok made me realize a lot of things. Like it made me realize that I was bisexual. It made me like cats again. But it also made me realize, shit, some people really don't like us French. Like what? What's going on? Like I thought this whole time, I genuinely thought we were like worshipped by everyone. And it's like, not to be a cliche, but I really thought like everyone thought we were these classy, this culture, this wine drinking, baguette eating people that is like so like luxurious once again. And when I found out that some people fucking hate us, I was like, really? How so? Like I was shocked, flabbergasted. It's not that I don't see why. But I knew some of the stereotypes that were rude, we're always rushing everywhere, and like, we will criticize you if you don't speak French, blah, blah, blah. But I generally thought this was like the but to the French are great statement. Turns out it was not. Like, I remember reading like comment sections on TikTok many, many times, okay? It's in the dozens, if not the hundreds time. Of like anything remotely negative, or sometimes like talking about like someone dying or like a people being killed or whatever, and they'd be like, I would wish this on no one else but the French. Being killed? Bestie. Okay, like, let's talk murder, bestie, okay? You know. And I was flabbergasted. Like, privilege. I really thought we were that bitch. Like, to be honest, I really thought the French people was universally thought of as like a great fucking people. And apparently we're not. Let me drink to that. Oh my god, I need a drink after that. So let's address the stereotypes. So one of the major stereotype about French people that I knew even before the TikTok comment section and whatever was that we're rude. And I didn't really see that until I moved to Thailand. And I think there are some truth to it and some not truth to it. I think French people are not an overtly like the client is king people. In fact, usually is the client is bothering me. And that's more the mindset in France, which can be honestly a bit annoying, I'm gonna be honest. And oftentimes when you go to any type of service, like be it you go to a cafe, you go to a library, you go any fucking where, to the pharmacist, you often feel like you bother them. Like you're like, hi, I'm kind of keeping your shop like alive by being here, but like, okay, sorry for existing, I guess. Sorry for needing meds or else I'm gonna die. Like, you know, things like that. You like perpetually feel like you're bothering them. It's insane. And I think I was aware of that, but I truly 100% realized that once I left Paris and came to Thailand, which is a country where the client is very much king, and people are like always bowing to you and like treating you like you invented water or whatever. And the whiplash was big, okay? I was like, wow, okay, so that's one extreme, Paris, to the other, Bangkok. And to be fair, I think we should like reach a middle because I don't think the client is king. I think very often the client is wrong. Let's be honest. So many people are fucking entitled. But I realized that before coming here, when I was in Paris, I would be anxious to talk. Like if I went to a cafe, I would be anxious to order. If I went to the pharmacist, I would be anxious. Like because very often I would be faced with someone who's fucking rude, who's not smiling, barely saying hello, like almost rolling their eyes when I ask them to do their fucking job. And I think that's a true stereotype. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I genuinely think that's true. I need to eat something or I'm gonna be super drunk right now. I don't know where this attitude comes from, but I think it's like getting worse and worse in a way. Like I think before, customer service was better in France, but then it slowly started degrading. And because, for example, you as a kid grew up having those kinds of experiences, if you grow up to be a server or a restaurant owner or whatever, you will also think this is the norm and you will repeat this behavior and encourage it to other people who see you having this behavior. And so, is there a solution to that? I don't know. But I do agree that customer service in France is lacking. In my 1 year and like many months of living in Thailand, I've only had like, let's say, 3 bad customer service experiences in a full fucking year of living here. In France, I would have 3 bad customer experiences in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. It's a problem. That being said, I don't think French people are rude at all. I think we're, like I remember there's this YouTube channel of like a New Zealander living in France that's called like Not Even French. And she described people as coconuts or peaches. Coconuts, like you have a hard shell. So you're kind of cold. It's kind of hard to get to know you. But once you get to know them, you like get to the center where the water is. And they're all soft and all nice and will let you in and be very good friends. And usually be good friends forever. And then you have peaches where they're more like soft on the outside. But inside, it's hard. And French people are definitely coconuts. Absolutely. I don't really know how I would qualify Thai people. I probably would say they're peaches, actually. Because I think Thai people have often a very big group of friends. But a lot of those friendships are a bit shallow, I'm going to be honest. I think only a few of them are truly deep and meaningful. But I think Thai people are more like open. And it's easier to make Thai friends than it is to make French friends, for sure. But that being said, I really don't think the French are rude. I think a lot of them are actually very like nice and friendly. And it's just that I think we have a very deadpan delivery and we're not really like... We're quite an individualistic society. So I think we are not that much caring of others as much as like Thai people, in my opinion. And so I think maybe that's where the like rude aspect comes from. Another aspect is that like we're dirty and we don't shower. I would say we're not as hygiene conscious as like Asian people, for sure. Like a lot of my Asian friends, they wash themselves like twice a day. Sometimes I have to do that when like it was a really hot day and I sweated so much, but it's actually not good for your like skin pH to wash yourself too often. And I think a lot of French men can be disgusting, for sure. But it's a men thing more than a French thing, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And yeah, I don't think we're that dirty. I think like according to Asian standards, we probably are, but I don't think we are more dirty than any other like European people. Another cliche is that we're cheaters. Which is funny because I am currently living in the number 1 cheating country, and it's not France, it's Thailand. And no, it's not just men in Thailand that cheats. It's part-time, like equal parts men and women. Mhm. Yes, my Thai drama's dream were broken once I learned that information. And I'm still very bitter about that because my dream of having a Thai boyfriend or girlfriend has been not shattered. It's still here, but I'm like, if you're gonna cheat on me, like, which is my number one pet peeve in life, I cannot take that. I already have trust issues. I cannot take cheating on me, please. Maybe let's not. Like, maybe. So I don't think French people are cheaters more than other people. I think we are flirty people. I think we are more open to like, and we've been like for many, many, many decades, more than recently, about like hookup culture or like sex life. I think we're more open to casual hookups and whatever, and we're not a very puritanical society, I would say, at all. Which is actually something I appreciate, even though I don't really love hookup culture, in my opinion. I think it's quite predatory, especially on women. But I don't think we're cheaters. I don't agree with that stereotype either. What other stereotype? Oh, Paris smells like piss. So this one I have a gripe with, because I don't agree. Like, yes, there are people who pee in the street, and it is definitely something that is very wrong. Not because someone peed on the street, because someone doesn't have a home to pee in and decided to pee on the fucking streets. It tells us more about the homelessness crisis in Paris and other big cities than, oh my god, there's a little bit of pee on the street. And I have smelled pee outside working in Paris. Does it mean every street in Paris smells like pee? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just a non-thing. And once again, I think we're not focusing on the right thing, especially since like it's often tourists who are like, oh my god, Paris, like I thought Paris was so classy and beautiful, but actually like there was this TikTok that went viral recently of this guy who went to Paris and was like, oh my god, this looks like the ghetto, because there's like graffiti on the walls and there's like trash outs. Bestie, in New York, I've been to New York, they put the trash on the fucking ground there, and there's rats like having fun, having a party in the fucking trash cans. At least we have in the trash bins. At least we have trash cans, bitch. The fuck. So yeah, this I'm glad this TikTok didn't go well, and especially now with the like Hero Summer. Oh my god. Americans have been invading Paris. It's a real problem. Like I'm actually one of the rare French people who does not hate Americans, and I'm gonna tell you guys, you are hated. Okay, genuinely, I tell that with love. You are hated by French people, a lot of them, especially the older ones. The older ones hate your guts, but they can like you individually, but they will never be like, oh my god, I love Americans. But now I've become very sensitive, because when I was back in Paris like 3 weeks ago for 2 months, I was like, bitch, Americans are everywhere. Like, there's no other type of tourists that are so loud and so annoying as just Americans. Guys, keep yourselves in check. I'm being honest. Like, I'm saying that out of love, because I think Americans to the core are good people, even though your politics are fucked up. I can't believe I wanted to do my gap year in your country, guys. Right now, you cannot pay me to go to the US. Actually, it's been considered a danger zone by like Europe. It's a country that is not advised to travel to currently. So, but I think Americans are good to the core. I like their openness and I like their like friendliness. But keep it down. Keep the volume down when you're Paris. Okay, sorry. That was like random, but I needed to say it. I really think that Paris is very romanticized, and we're gonna go on to another topic, and this is a topic I really want to talk about. Is the romanticization of Paris. It's crazy. Like, it's insane. So recently I rewatched the movie Hugo. I think that's the English title. In French it's called Hugo Cabret. And it's a movie, it's so fucking random. It's an American movie set in Paris with half British actors, half American actors. It's random as fuck. random as fuck bitch. And first of all, it annoys me when like, and this is just not about like French movies, like movies set in France, but it always annoys me when a movie is set in a country and the actors are not even from that country and they don't even speak the language of that country. Like, what are we doing, babes? Like, you can set a movie in Paris. It's okie dokie. My issue is gonna be like, why the fuck would you hire British fucking actors? The fuck? So anyways, that movie is okay. It's whatever. But my issue with it is that like it was so romanticized, and I realized that like even a movie like Amélie, which is like the French movie, it's like, oh my god, like so French, and it's set in my favorite neighborhood in France, Montmartre. Honestly, besties, like if you gotta spend like a couple days in one neighborhood in Paris, in my opinion, it's gonna be Montmartre. But it's insane because even that movie that was made like for a French audience, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure like it was just a French movie that happened to like be really liked by like foreign audiences and become like the French movie, like the staple movie for like France. But even that movie like is a very romanticized idea of Paris as well. And I think you really gotta see like real French movies to really understand what it is to be French. France is a really multicultural, multiracial society with extreme poverty and extreme richness, but most people usually experience more the extreme poverty, even if it's not like directly, it's from people in their school. If you've gone to a public school like me, I was extremely aware of my privilege, and I'm middle class, but I was extremely aware of how much extreme poverty there was, like sat literally next to me in class, you know. And a movie I really recommend to watch if you want to see the real French culture. This is the culture from the suburbs, the Parisian culture from the suburbs. It's called Divine. Divine with an S because it's French, obviously. I don't love that movie because it's like has some fat phobia in it that I really icked me out. But apart from that, it's a very powerful movie. Really, really powerful. And I think it shows another perspective of what being French is like when you're not middle class and when you're not like super rich. And you're not like Emily in Paris, who has like une chambre de bonne of 30 meters square that has a view on the Eiffel Tower. Don't get me started on Emily in Paris, please. God, please. No. No more Emily in Paris. Like, it's the one show that people talk to me about when I say I'm from Paris. I want to kill myself. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's too much. It's too much. Not Emily in Paris. God's sake. But I think I really, really hate the romanticization of Paris because it makes future like tourists already disappointed in Paris from now. Because I think we've built Paris to be this dreamland like America was for many, many years until like probably Trump was elected, of like the American dream. And I think there was really the Parisian dream. And now it's being promoted even still to this day. Like I see on TikTok so many American girls being like, I'm in Paris, and they live a sheltered life of privilege. And it's annoying because it removes the humanity of living in Paris. And obviously I've been talking about like being a Parisian mostly during this podcast because I'm from Paris and I can only speak to that experience. But obviously, like we say in French, Paris n'est pas la France. Paris is not France. I'm very well aware of that. Even though I know a lot of French people would dislike me for just being Parisian, which is coming in 1 second. But I think the real problem with the romanticization of Paris and even France, like now the south of France is being romanticized as well. Even though it's a very, very racist side of the country. very far right leaning. It's that it makes it so Paris and France in general is not even real anymore. It becomes a dream, it becomes a fantasy land, it becomes something that it is not. You know, Paris, like every other city, has its flaws and it has its good. It has, of course, beautiful architecture. It has, of course, a lot of museums, a lot of cute cafes, a lot of cute restaurants, a lot of good food, and good clubs and good strolls around the Seine. But it also has extreme poverty. It also has discrimination. It also has its scammers, and rent prices are insane. Customer service sometimes isn't that good. And all of the fun things as well. And it always upsets me when I see privileged American people who live off of like working abroad and have an American salary of at least, even if they have a low American salary of $2,000 a month, they are living a really good life in Paris. But that's not the real life that French people are living. And lastly, let's move on from the romanticization, because I could talk about it again and again and again. It's also a problem because everything I've said it as a Parisian, and I know a lot of French people will dismiss me just because I'm a Parisian, and I want to raise awareness about the great discrimination that Parisians suffer at the end of the rest of France. But no, I love saying that because French people are gonna be so mad at me. Parisians are really fucking hated in France. Like, there are meme pages against Parisians on Facebook, Instagram, every fucking social media. We are not liked. We are seen as arrogant, thinking that Paris is the center of France, which, okay, I will not say it. And thinking that we are better than everyone else. And I think, growing up, I really had a little bit of this idea, because I think every corner of France is beautiful, but I think Paris is the capital city for a reason. It is a big city, and honestly, I do not see myself living in any other big city in France, because I'm a big city girly, and even more so now that I've lived in Bangkok, which is 15 times the size of Paris. So yeah, imagine the other cities, how small they feel now compared to Bangkok. But I did lean into the stereotype. I'm gonna be honest. For a long time I did think Paris was better than the rest of France. To this day, I still think we're more open-minded, we're more left-leaning, we're more about ecology, we're kind of the cliche of the hipster, if you will. But that cliche brings a lot of good things with it, I guess. But yeah, French people don't like the rest of French people don't really like us at all. Like, there are certain cities like Marseille, which is the second biggest city in France, where you cannot go and like park with like a plaque with your like car number, and it shows that you're from Paris, because you will probably get your car broken into or whatever. So yeah, fun things. When I've gone to Marseille, every time we have had to park in like a private parking, because cannot take any chance, can we? Even though I've loved Marseille, honestly, it's the only other city in France where I see myself living. I do think some of the stereotypes about Parisians is true, but I think it's not by choice. And I think like if people were born in Paris, they would understand it. But because I think a lot of it comes from jealousy. A lot of it is like, you pay like so high in rent, as if we chose that for us. Like, no, we didn't. Like, we complain about it more than you do, guys. Like, it's not because you can like buy a whole ass house with 200,000 euros and we cannot even buy one apartment in Paris. Like, we cannot even buy like 2 meters square in Paris. That is like fine. But I do want to like raise the white flag of peace and say that I don't think most Parisians think we're better than anyone else. And if they did, it's like me when they were younger and more delusional and more closed off and more judgmental. But I think everywhere in France is beautiful. I think everywhere has its strength. Personally, I could not live anywhere else simply because I am a big city girly. I cannot live in the countryside. I will literally die. Literally, like I swear. I have mental health issues, so. But I think it's fine to love where you were born and appreciate it. And that doesn't mean you need to shit on Paris because, gosh, when I joined university, which maybe I was a bit short-sighted, but basically the first girl I met in university, I asked her, which arrondissement are you from? So, which district in Paris are you from? And she told me, oh, I'm not from Paris. I'm from Picardy, which is another department in France. Then the other girl was like, which arrondissement are you from? Clearly, I hadn't learned my lesson, but anyways. And she was like, oh, I'm from Bretagne, which is another department in France. And I quickly learned that I was kind of the only Parisian in this fucking, like, in my degree for 4 years. Which meant that, like, I was ostracized for it. And it was really annoying because these girls, like these two first girls from Picardy and Bretagne, who were like my closest friends during these 3 years, I had to retake the year because I dropped out because of mental health issues. That will be for another day. But these girls, like, they grew up in like ridiculously small villages, and they had like houses and gardens and horses and cows and goats. And they would always say, oh my God, I miss my cows and I miss my goats and I don't like being in Paris. And from the first day I told them, like, you know, I'm born in Paris. I love my city. I don't really like when you talk negatively about my city because I would never talk negatively of your train of life, even though it's really not something for me. And I like put my boundary out so many times, and they would always like still continue to talk shit about Paris in front of me. And I think they related to each other, but they never related to me. And I was ostracized for that fact, which is very fucking annoying because I was open-minded to their experiences. And I think growing up with horses and cows and goats can be fucking cool. But they were never like hearing me out when I told them that it hurt me. That they would always be like, oh my God, Paris is so expensive. And I think it's a lot of the experience for Parisians. And so I think sometimes we are full of ourselves in retaliation. And we're like, yeah, Paris has more story. And at least I can walk to the supermarkets. And you have to drive 15 minutes, bitch. Which honestly is a real roast. Like, wanna talk, bestie? With your village of 142 inhabitants? Let's talk. But yeah, I don't like the fact that like Parisians are seen as like the devil in France, and it's very hurtful and very annoying. Now I've kind of moved on. Again, I feel, not to be shady, but I feel less and less French by the day. I feel like I'm myself. I feel like I have the French like baggage with all the good and all the bad that it entails. But I'm not like, I think I'll always root for my country. Like if there was like a sport event, as if I care about sports, but anyways, if there was a sport event, I would always root for France. And if there was like any event where France is put in the spotlight, I would always root for France. And in between all the cities in France, I would always root for Paris. But I don't care that much because sometimes it feels like a world I have left behind in a way. I feel like my life in Bangkok is so much more different. And here, even though, of course, I am Axelle, the French girl, the girl from Paris, I am mostly and first of all Axelle. And I love that for myself. I'm going to be honest. Lastly, because I've been talking for over an hour, and it's getting late. It's almost midnight right now. I want to talk about the obsession with nonsensical French. I don't even know if nonsensical is a word, but I made it up. Because, girl, the obsession, as I said, France equals luxury in like most people's minds. Therefore, a lot of people, and in Asia especially, they love putting French words everywhere. Oh my God, let me tell you this. So when I arrived in Bangkok, like my first week or whatever, I met with my with a new friend, and I'm still friends with her today. She bought me those flowers that I need to throw away because they're dead. But anyways, I kept them just for this podcast. I met her in Gateway Ekamai, which is like a little mall near the BTS Ekamai. And there's this store, and it's not just in Gateway Ekamai. I'm trying to like kind of give you the mood. If you know Bangkok, maybe you will know which place I'm talking about. And there's this store that is like a Japanese cake store, and it's called Chat Résé. I don't know where it came from. It doesn't mean anything in French. The first time I saw it, I laughed out loud because it was one letter off from being chat rasé. Granted, not written correctly. But chat rasé means shaved. Meow. Today, when I say today, is on the day of recording this episode. I was at like a sort of market event thingy, and I drank like I bought a drink at this place called Oui. Oh my god, there's this place called Gâteau House. But this is like not upsetting to me. The Gâteau House, the oui, I don't really care. This is cute actually. Like I'm happy. I'm like, oh my god. Like anytime I hear someone speaking French here in Bangkok, I'm like, oh my god, hi home. Like hi. But it's the nonsensical French, bestie. I cannot do this. Like I remember watching this K-drama, which I really like. It's called Weightlifting Fairy King Bokju. I'm pretty sure. And in one scene, there's one of her best friends who's wearing this t-shirt. I don't remember what was written on her t-shirt, but obviously it was in French, but it was so wrong. I couldn't even focus on the scene. I like didn't hear anything that they were saying. I was just like having palpitation and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, if you're gonna use French, go for it, bestie. But please, I'm begging you. First of all, at least use Google Translate. Okay, please. Come on. That's like the basis of basis. And secondly, maybe, I don't know, try to find someone French online and ask them their opinion. If you don't know any French person, and if you don't know any French person but you know me, you can always send me on my Instagram at Axelle Pathé. Please send me I will, for free, okay? I will help you make your French sound better. I swear to God. It's a promise. I'm being serious. Because, bruh, sometimes I'm gonna be honest, it feels like French is more of an aesthetic, and it reminds me exactly of Japanese. And it's funny because Japan is like the first country, in my opinion, to do this with French. And I'm like, but bruh, you know how many like illustrations have random Japanese words put into it because it looks cool? Or like, how many people have Japanese tattoos because it looks cool? You know this. Like, why are you doing the same thing to us? Like, we're in this together. Like, bruh, come on. So, it just, please, make it stop. I don't want to go in a mall and see something the equivalent of shaved meow anymore. Because it reminds me, I'm gonna look at me. I'm gonna bring Thai dramas in no matter what. Like, this is my thing, okay? I'm thinking about the two Thai dramas that incorporated French. We have Baker Boys and Enchanté. Both are from GMMTV. I really recommend Baker Boys. You can skip Enchanté. Baker Boys has some elements of French. Really bad. Really bad. Like, they have a guy who's supposed to be French. Barely speak French. Anyways, and Enchanté is even worse because the main character is supposed to be half French and have lived the majority of his life in France and the like formative years of his life in France, and his French is terrible. And I just want to say, please, I know it's hard and sometimes you don't have the resources, especially GMMTV that keeps churning out shows after shows and after shows and after shows. And honestly, GMMTV, sometimes you can slow down. I'm going to say that as a fan. You're the only production company I would call myself like a fan, if not a stan of. You can slow down. Like, it's okay. Put more care into those shows. Like, make less shows a year, put more care into it. But, girl, there were some points where it felt disrespectful, and honestly sometimes calling it out. When I called out, like, on my YouTube channel, Axelle Loves Thailand. There are two videos. One where I criticized the French in Baker Boys, where I criticized the French in Enchanté, and it didn't go well. It's like, oh my god, you're being a racist. I'm being racist by pointing out how these shows are using my language and my culture as aesthetics and not actually putting in the care and effort to make it accurate. You know, I hate when people call racism on everything, because racism is truly everywhere. It's so insidious. It's so hurtful. It's truly part of our everyday life in every way. And you're going to tell me that me being like kind of upset. I wasn't that upset, to be honest. I gave compliments in both of my videos. Me being upset that these shows didn't put enough care to make it accurate for the French viewers who, like, you're supposed to be kind of representing in those shows, like, is racist? Bruh. Nah. No, thank you. So anyways, it's just like, I think we can love French. We can think it's like luxurious and classy and a symbol of wealth and culture and whatever. But then please don't put nonsensical French. I am begging at this point. I cannot take it anymore. Okay? So, yes, this was my last word of the day. This was the first kind of introduction. A lot of ranting for me today. The next episode, let me preview you. What's my next episode? The next episode I've already kind of previewed is gonna be the struggles of being biracial. So next month you will learn about the identity that I still have yet to fully grasp and that I'm still struggle with. And yeah, that episode is gonna be really interesting. And I really also want any biracial people to really listen to that episode and like give me their feedback, because I think it's gonna be really, really important. So yeah, I'll see you next month. Merci beaucoup. Bye bye.